Welcome to Dark Sorcery. I'm Alfredo Martinez, and I have with me once again Ikela Morningstar. Ikela, it's good to have you back.
Thank you. Happy to be back. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And this is DreamCatcherz episode 16, Divination. And so, yeah, as far as divination goes, that's kind of a very broad term. For me, I tend to use dowsing rods, the tarot, and pendulum as my main divination. What
I like to read tea leaves. I also like to read the clouds, water, like, scrying, I guess is what you call it. Um,
Right.
and yeah, I love to use the pendulum. I feel very connected to it. And then the tarot cards, of course. So I feel like sometimes it just comes to me like divination wise, like, like I said, I'll look in the clouds and I'll like see something or get a vision and things like that. So that's what I'm most drawn to, is like the clouds or water.
Okay. Now, do you believe that everyone has to find their own type of divination? The same divination will not work for everybody. Everyone's got to find their own thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like if you're in the beginning stages of trying to find what works for you and you're still learning, I would just start off with something basic, like maybe the pendulum is very easy to work with, and kind of work your way up or into your skill. And then, of course, with tarot, it does take a lot of practice, a lot of learning different decks, things like that. So don't overwhelm yourself with a bunch of different tools right away. Just pick one, find one, see how it works, and then just practice. Practice is the key to getting better at it. And you could also study as well, watch videos like this to kind of learn a little bit more as well.
Yeah. And also, one method you can use in finding your divination tools is you can just go out when you just walk outside, just ask nature, just say, send me the divination tools I need. You can ask your higher self, you can just ask nature in general, and you'll realize that certain things will cross your path. I mean, most of my divination tools have been given to me, and I'm a strong believer that if a divination tool is given to you, it's definitely intended for you from the spirit world. They know you can work with it. It's for a purpose. But yeah, I've had lots of things just cross my path after saying stuff like that. People end up giving things to me, and you know, they tend to already be activated or moved in my hand when they do give are given to me. Do you share that same philosophy?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been in a lot of different spiritual groups, but I had someone from one of the spiritual groups that I was in. She reached out to me and she says, I have this, mother deck, right? And there it's a circle. And she goes, I don't know why, I just don't feel connected to this deck, but for some reason, I'm so drawn to you. Can I mail them to you? And she mailed them to me. And
Okay.
so, yeah, yeah. So it's funny that you said, people give you stuff. And I think somebody recently gave you something, right?
Yeah. True. True. Yeah, I was given actually with well, there's this pendulum here that I actually came across. Actually found it. It crossed my path. And every time I speak to it, like I started speaking to it, it started moving right away. I just kind of left it the way it is. The way the string inside this hole is very, very tiny, so it's kind of meant to not be messed with. But it's a piece of amethyst hanging from here, and I can just ask any question. They'll give me any pretty much yes no question. This is good for yes no questions. Um, I'll say something simple like pendulum. Is it light outside? It'll start to move back left to right. Pendulum. Is it dark outside? You'll start to move this way. So, you have to specify with your pendulum for with this pendulum and myself. This way is yes. This way is no. Um, but if you want to get a little more specific, you can go to the tarot. You know, right here I have Luciferian tarot, one of my favorite tarot decks. And the way I see when I think of tarot, I think that the cards already know what you're going to ask before you ask it. What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think it's very possible that the cards already know. And I also kind of feel like inside we already know, right? So we're looking for that tool to basically just confirm. Well, that's how it is for me. I already know I need confirmation, so I'm going to use that tool to get my answer.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, your subconscious has a link, a direct link with, I believe it's the collective conscious, what's spoken of in psychology, that has access to everything, past, present, and future. And there are many who believe that with pendulums, that that is your subconscious moving, twitching the muscles, allowing them to move, and being getting the information directly from your subconscious mind. Same thing with tarot. I just want to show some of this cool artwork here. This is from the
Yeah, let
Luciferian
me check
tarot
it out.
from Michael W. Ford's tarot deck. There's the moon. Okay.
That's gorgeous.
There's the tower. There's death right there. The lovers. I love this one. And the hermit. So yeah, some pretty cool artwork. Michael W. Ford put it out some years ago. I'm not sure if it's in print anymore. And different tarot decks can tell you information in a different way. And I've said this before in a couple of videos, but if you want a general information answer to a question, pretty cut and dry, use the Rider-Waite deck. But if you want to be presented the truth in a hardcore way, and just give it to you straight up, the Necronomicon tarot is good to use. You can get different tarot decks for different reasons. So here's some of the art on Luciferian tarot. There's Nyarlathotep right there. Shub-Niggurath, spoken of in the Necronomicon. There's the Eight of Discs. There's a necromancer right there. And there's the hermit right there. I just love the dark imagery here. There's the star, very, very beautiful artwork. You can when you go out for a tarot deck, you can just get the one that's most drawn to you, or you can just wait until one is given to you. But one that you're most drawn to, you can grab that, kind of consecrate it, put it through an activation ceremony to get it going and get it more receptive. What's your philosophy in choosing a tarot deck?
I know a lot of people say start with the Rider-Waite deck. I personally found the Rider-Waite deck a little challenging, not as easy, or I just maybe wasn't as drawn to it.
Right.
So, I mean, you can definitely do a lot of research into it, but like you said, you will be drawn to it or it will be given to you. There's so many decks out there, and I have several, and you're going to have like your favorite deck or the one that you're most drawn to or the one that you tune into, because the imagery is going to be different, right? So it's speaking to your subconscious mind on that level.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I necessarily have a philosophy on what deck you should get, but I think that you should take a look at several and just see what your intuition is telling you.
Yeah. Same thing goes for other ones. Let's see here. Here's my dowsing rods right here. Here's a couple of them I have. So what you do is you hold these like this, and you can start to speak to them. Like, let's say I asked my tarot deck a question and I wanted a second opinion. So then I would go to these, and I'll ask a question. I'll say, dowsing rod, is it bright outside? It starts to move counterclockwise. Then you can ask it a question, say, dowsing rod, is it dark outside? It's starting to move clockwise slowly. But the thing is that clockwise is yes, counterclockwise is no. Let's take, for instance, if you go outside and you say, well, where's a dead animal buried? They'll automatically start to move. And then when they cross, that's where your target is right there. You can tell if it's a male or a female. If you hold your dowsing rod over where the dead animal is, if it goes clockwise, it's male. If it goes counterclockwise, it's female. But really only about 40% of people in the world supposedly have the gift to use these when you do put them in your hands. Yeah, I have a couple extra pair at home too, because they're intended for me to give to somebody. That's why I ended up with them, and next time I head up over to Oregon, I'll bring a pair and I'll give them to you.
Yeah.
Show you how to use it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's you can find 2 or 3 different methods for divination. That way you can get a second opinion. But yeah, do you believe in finding extra methods of divination? That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, like, can you clarify a little bit further? You mean
so like every time you do a reading, there's not going to be 100%. It's not going to be legit 100%. Maybe 90% or so, because what people don't realize is that the future is not exactly set in stone. There's always ways. You could think of this as a way of, okay, well, you can go this way, you can go that way. Most likely right now you're going this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like to get, find 2 or 3 other methods of divination, just so I can get a definite answer. It's like if I wanted directions to somewhere, I stop and I say, hey, I have a question. Do you know where this and that is? And someone gives me an answer. If I'm not exactly sure, I'm going to ask someone else, or a couple other people. Based on those answers, I'm going to put them together and make a pretty good educated guess as to what my next move is. But yeah, divination, like I said, is a very broad topic. I don't believe that you can't tell someone you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. Everybody has their own way of doing divination. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely do. And I think the way that people read tarot or, use the tools is going to be slightly different.
Yeah. Like if you read them a certain way, I can't tell you have to do it my way. If you have your own way and that works for you, then that's great. That works for you. Yeah, I mentioned earlier about asking nature, asking your higher self to send you things your way, tools that is good for you. You'll notice that as they come along, yeah, just put them aside. That way, exactly if the spirit world sends you, let's say, a crystal ball, that means they're telling you, they're saying, hey, you have a knack for this, go ahead. That points you in the right direction. But when it comes to divination, a lot of religious people tend to be against it. Oh, well, the Bible says that we're not supposed to do divination. Well, the reality is it's also in the Bible. Let's take, for instance, of course, in the book of Exodus, between Moses and the 2 Egyptians, there's that right there. 1 Samuel 28, Saul goes to seek the witch of Endor to call up the spirit of Samuel. But a lot of times, with God's prophets in the Bible, he's giving dream divination. He says, oh, I'll give you my answer in a dream. People had the interpretation of dreams. Oh, you're good. And the Bible also says they cast lots. There you go. That's divination right there. They cast lots to determine what priest was going to light a certain fire in a temple, or who was going to replace Judas. They cast lots. So I mean, they did divination as well, whether they want to admit it or not. The heroes of the Bible. But I think it's something, divination as a whole, among outside the occult community, it's something that's very misunderstood. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I do think it's misunderstood. And it's funny that you bring it up in the Bible. And, some of these Bible people, say that, we're doing evil stuff, or that we're sinning, or all that kind of stuff. And so I think it's a lack of their own knowledge about their own Bible.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you want to say, if a Christian wants to tell me that crystals are evil, but yet they're using crystals in that very cell phone they have, that they use to read their Bible and to pull up scripture and everything, it's also science. You know what I mean? It's very scientific when you break it down.
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's just a little quick chat on divination. The two of us thought we'd give to you, but yeah,
Yeah.
Ikela.
Quick, the reason why I was walking is because I wanted to get one of my tarot decks because it's actually a learning tarot deck. And
Okay.
so what I'm going to tell you what it's on it. So it's got symbols, it has yes, no, maybe, it has a sign for reversed or just right up. So I don't know if you can whoops, I don't know if you can see it. So like even if you just wanted to ask yes, no questions, it's got the symbolism, so it's very helpful. So I got this one off TikTok, but I just wanted to say that if you type in Google search learning tarot deck, and you find one with the symbols and the colors and yes, no, maybe, even if you just wanted to start out with a yes, no question, I think this is like one of the best decks that you can start with because it's got everything. Like when you're beginning tarot, you find yourself with a little handy book, right? Trying to figure out what it means. And so when I saw these, I grabbed them because I think they're an excellent tool for learning tarot. So I just wanted to share that really quick.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And what's that tarot deck called again?
It's the Learning Tarot deck.
The Learning Tarot deck.
Yeah, Learning Tarot deck. In fact, I'll look up my order on TikTok. I should have had the name of it, but the box is somewhere else. But I really like it. Sometimes I'll just ask it yes, no questions, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask tarot yes, no questions as well. Or you can just, while you're shuffling, thinking about your question, you can say stuff like 3-card spread. And then while you're shuffling, it knows to rearrange in 3-card spread. Or you can say Celtic, what is tarot card? What is da-da-da-da-da? Celtic cross. And then while you're shuffling, you're thinking about your question. It's rearranging it for the Celtic cross. And then I like to let my tarot deck know ahead of time what my question is and what spread I'm going to do. That way the cards are rearranged that way. And one thing I also do is when I get a tarot deck, I like to leave it under my pillow so that when I can sleep and when I wake up, I have a subconscious link with it. So that when I'm laying the cards out, automatically there's a subconscious link. So it's easier to read them.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think I haven't personally done that, but now that you mentioned that, I think I'm going to do that tonight when I go to bed.
Yeah, I mean, you can leave it in the box. That way they don't spread out and get bent and folded and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
just some ideas thrown out there. Also, yeah, Ikela Morningstar is back. Like I said, we're continuing the DreamCatcherz series here. Also, Ikela and I have been going live on her TikTok. So I'll leave the link below in the video description. It's at the Happy One 84. That's Ikela Morningstar's live, so you can tune into that, and we'll let you know when we regularly do go live. It might be 2 nights in a row, might be 3 nights in a row. Usually it's around 6:30 Pacific, but we're also considering going live on Dark Sorcery TikTok or Dark Sorcery YouTube or the group. So just keep posted on that. Check out Ikela's her social media links. We'll have those in the video description. But yeah, thanks, Ikela, for your time, for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I look forward to doing more of these.
Yeah, no problem. And everyone who's watching, like and subscribe to Dark Sorcery.